evening. 1 in every 4 asylum seekers who arrive in the UK end up in the NorthWest, and the vast majority of those are sent to Greater Manchester. The city's mayor says that's too many and has told the government he'll stop taking them if that doesn't change. Today, the Home Secretary says he will act. Here's Eunice Muller.
Why are you happy?
Because I learned a new word.
Rethink Rebuild is a Manchester-based charity focused on improving lives. At this English class, the emphasis is on the health system. By learning the language, it takes away, for example, the need to employ interpreters. Some here are asylum seekers. Others are recent immigrants.
It's to know some knowledge about the life, about English, about health, about family.
Manchester is nice. You have many cultures, so I like it.
How easy is it to settle into Manchester? How do you find that?
In beginning was difficult because I don't have any family, no friends. It was very difficult.
Training is government funded, but an increase in asylum seekers in the area is putting pressure on services.
They have different needs and requirements as other people that have just moved in and have learning difficulties or language barriers because they have a more psychological impact of the kind of crisis and fear that they've actually been through.
Today, the Mayor of Greater Manchester told the Home Affairs Select Committee Greater Manchester is housing disproportionate number of people. The NorthWest, he says, hosts 25% of the national population of asylum applicants who require housing and support, 70% of whom are housed in Greater Manchester. The number of supported asylum seekers in the area has doubled since 2003 and is currently around 6,700. At the same time, many local authorities haven't been involved at all.
When we have plenty of people to deal with and they will face more challenges, and even our employees and volunteers will struggle to help, and we feel many times that we are sympathizing with those people, but we can't help them.
Many areas not currently involved in asylum dispersal take in refugees in other ways. But here in the NorthWest, although they're proud of the work they do, they question at what cost they can continue. Eunice Muller, BBC NorthWest Tonight, Manchester.
Well, earlier, the Home Secretary Sajid Javid responded to the Mayor of Greater Manchester, saying he would act to make the system fairer. I asked Andy Burnham whether that was enough.
Well, we have to see the words in the letter translated into firm commitments in the contract. It is a good letter because it recognises the role that Greater Manchester has played. It also says that other areas now need to do more in the way that Greater Manchester has done over recent years. But obviously I have to see that translated into a firm commitment that's fair to our 10 councils. It's not an easy subject to raise because people will always think that there's politics being played. I can assure you there's not. What I've got to do is get something that is right for everybody concerned, because it's not just unfair on the communities, it's unfair on asylum seekers themselves if they're placed in damp and poor accommodation with no wider support. This really doesn't work for anybody other than the Home Office, and that's